Thank you, Eva and Lucy, for those very kind words, and thank you to Tennis Canada and National Bank for selecting me as the inaugural recipient of this award. As I look around this room today and see so many of you gathered here to discuss the importance of equity in sport and the need to collectively take action for change, I am more confident than ever that what we are witnessing is not a moment, but a movement, a change for the better in the world of sport. For too long, women's sports didn't get the attention, the opportunity, and most importantly, the investment it deserves. That's not because the talent, the competition, and potential wasn't there. It was always there. But women's sports weren't seen as good business. While this perception is changing, thanks to the talent, hard work, perseverance, and courage of many, including many in this room, we still have a long way to go. Women's sports are not only important to me, but are also worth investing in. I made this investment earlier this year, so let's look at the numbers. This year, women's professional sports are on track to generate over $1 billion in global revenue for the first time ever. Venues are selling out across the world, and viewership continues to multiply year over year. This year's Women's NCAA Championship game was watched by nearly 19 million people, more than the men's for the first time in history. Last month, 3.44 million people watched the W All-Star Game in Phoenix. That's 2 million more than the year before. There's a growing and invested audience out there which has been largely untapped. That audience takes note of who is investing and where, whether it be in leagues, teams, individual athletes, or in initiatives advancing equity for women and girls in sport, very much like Tennis Canada and National Bank have done with Game, Set, Equity. According to Forbes, brands that support women's sports can generate more than $7 in customer value for every $1 spent. One can see a 24% increase in consumer engagement and a 16% boost in brand loyalty. It's impacting a brand's bottom line, including brand value and brand trust. Now that's good business. So we're headed in the right direction, but the road ahead is long. Let's all step up and recognize the great growth potential of these extraordinary and talented women in sports. I'm very excited to unite fans from coast to coast when our WNBA team starts playing in 2026. Since announcing the team in May, the level of response has been overwhelming. We will be hands-on in encouraging and supporting girls and women athletes at every level, whether it be school sports, minor league, or right on to the pros. People from across Canada and internationally have reached out expressing financial interest in being part of this franchise, including my partner in life, my wife Judy, who from the inception came forward as a personal investor for the love of this sport. Together, let's recognize the value and potential of women's sports, not only as athletes, but as executives and owners. Let me introduce you to Reese, who was the former CEO of the Toronto Raptors and is now the president of our new WNBA team. Teresa, could you just stand up? Shortly, I will be welcoming a number of women investors to the ownership table of our new team. Excitement is progress, but it only goes so far. Excitement needs to inspire meaningful action. Women's leagues will continue to grow and thrive, and the time is now. Thank you very much.
What a room this is. First and foremost, Diva, thank you so much. I appreciate you inviting me here today and your incredible work. Bonjour à tous, c'est un plaisir d'être ici. First and foremost, I want to say huge congratulations to Mr. Tanenbaum on his well-deserved award. You, sir, are indeed unmatched. So, as the minister responsible for women and gender equality in youth, I am happy to be here, thrilled to be here, because there's a certain energy. You walk into this place and there's an energy in this room, and it is powered by equity, feminism, deep-rooted determination. Nothing brings people together like sport does. It is part of the intricate and interesting fabric that weaves us together as Canadians. And I have to say, because people had to pull me away from my device, as I saw Andre didn't make the 200 finals in Paris, who hasn't been glued to soaking up everything Olympic in Paris, and in particular, Team Canada, it has been nothing short of amazing. Mais pourtant, de jeunes femmes, nous avons grandi en regardant des athlètes qui ne nous ressemblaient pas. It was only this year, in 2024, that young Canadians could turn on their televisions and watch a professional North American hockey game, a sport so important to our country, where the last-second saves, game-winning goals were all made by women. And we know that this has real-life impact. A 2020 Canadian Women in Sport report found that while a similar number of boys and girls start out in sports, 1 in 3 girls drop out, and they do that in adolescence, compared to 1 in 10 boys. Girls in rural or remote areas or from lower income families are even less likely to have access to or participate in sports. So for those in this room that have played sports, and I'm thinking that's a pretty large percentage, we know that doesn't just mean not having a weekly practice on your calendar. It means less of an opportunity to be on a team. It means less of an opportunity to meet and build social networks. It means less of an opportunity for physical fitness, or simply just to run out the frustration of growing up. Playing a sport can change your life. And every young woman and girl deserves that chance. And things are getting better. There's more work to do, but they're getting better. As I mentioned, the PWHL played its first season this year, and woo, those games were something else. They were great. And thanks to the work of Mr. Tanenbaum and his team, his wife Judy as well, the WNBA is coming to Canada. And I want to stress Canada. Toronto might be the home base, but like the Toronto Raptors, this will be Canada's team. As the WNBA explodes, it is amazing to see little girls sporting Asia jerseys the same way they once wore Jordan. Back to Paris for a moment. Right now, Canadian women are showing just how top tier our country's athletes are. From Krista Deguchi, Cameron Rogers, Summer McIntosh, Leila Fernandez, Canadian women are speaking loudly, and they are speaking clearly through their sport. We came to conquer, and we're doing just that. To all young women in this room, outside of this room, who are showing up for practice, playing their hearts out, breaking barriers, we see you and we're cheering for you. You are the next gen Haley Wickenheiser, Karina LeBlanc, Tessa Virtue. And while you're on your journey, don't forget the wise words of the legend that is Ms. Simone Biles. Simone said, "Don't wait until you've reached your goal to be proud of yourself. Be proud of every step you take toward reaching that goal." In tennis, women role models have carved a path for years, from the great Billie Jean King to the legend that is Venus Williams, and of course, her sister, the legend that is Serena. Tennis has long been a place where women have smashed barriers and inspired the world. Today in Canada, young tennis players can look up to Leylah Fernandez, they can look up to Gabriela Dabrowski, Heidi Altabach. All that to say, we're on the right path. In fact, the great Christine St. Clair said, when she was growing up, you didn't even know that there was a women's national team. But now, girls grow up dreaming of playing for Canada. That those dreams feel in reach is partly because of the work that has been done and is ongoing in rooms like this one. It's because of forces of nature like Venus Williams quite literally changing the game, who has pushed for pay equity within tennis and beyond it. As Venus said, activism isn't easy. If you're in the business of change, you have to be prepared to play the long game. Let's keep inspiring. Let's keep inspiring one another, daring to think oh so big, creating more opportunities that we ever thought possible. Being unmatched. Thank you so much. Merci beaucoup.
What an afternoon. So while Venus was talking, I sort of wrote down my favorite quote of hers. When she said, there were always people who thought it wasn't going to happen, but we weren't worried about them because we were on the side of right, was my favorite quote until she said, don't date douchebags. So I got to take both of those with me. It was 2 years ago that Eva and her team gave me the opportunity to give opening remarks for the inaugural Unmatched conference featuring Billie Jean King. It was then that I challenged the room to do what I call finding your forward. My definition of finding your forward as it relates to gender equity in sport means, what action can you, a 14-year-old girl like the young women that we see here today, a partner at a law firm, a friend, a mentor, as Venus says, a coach, a parent, a teacher, what action can you take every day, however small, to advance the case for gender equity? While I was kicking around my ideas for the closing today with my friend Dara Willow, like I often do, she is the more creative of our friendship. I'm not sure where she is. She's probably hiding somewhere right now. We were talking about how much things have changed in the 3 years since I challenged everybody to find your forward. And we were talking about all of these incredible things that are happening in sport, and she made the comment that these things are more than accomplishments. They are momentum. And there has been a considerable momentum shift since that first challenge 2 years ago. The PWHL, some of you will remember this, but from sitting in the Philadelphia room in Pittsburgh with the best female hockey players in the world, and Billie Jean King coming on the screen via Zoom and challenging all of us involved in the early years to keep going, even though it felt at times like it was not going to end up where we wanted it to be, to selling out Scotiabank Arena and the Bell Centre in Montreal. Yeah. To the greatest gymnast the world has ever known, finding support and encouragement from sponsors, coaches, federations, and within herself to fight back to the top of her game after what happened in Tokyo, in front of fans such as Steph Curry, Tom Cruise, Nick Jonas, just to get a glimpse of her greatness during the Olympics. To Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese, despite the drama and the criticism and the hate, and them being pitted against each other in the media, showing up every single night to light up the WNBA. To Katie Ledecky, breaking record after record after record, feeling as though in this moment, she has the support to go 4 more years to bring home more hardware in LA 2028. to the Olympics, where the IOC declared that the Paris 2024 Games are the first Olympics ever to achieve full gender parity with equal numbers of men and women participating. And then we have the people in this room who are tireless in their efforts to make sure that everyone watches women's sports. Lucy and the team from National Bank, what a partner. From sticking with us, Tennis Canada, through the pandemic, to inspiring confidence that we were making the right decisions, championing opportunities for women and girls, and supporting our efforts to raise the bar to achieve equal prize money for the National Bank Open in 2027. Unbelievable. Thank you. Sherry Bradish, who may not be here, actually. I think she's at the Olympics right now, but let's pretend she's here. Keeps challenging herself and others to develop Canada's leading sports tech incubator with a growing commitment to mentor, train, and tap female founders on the shoulder. And Gatorade is in the house, a company that does everything with intention, from their commitment to the PWHL to investing in all athletes, and most recently to the victorious Ottawa South United team, who just won the girls' 14 to 16-year-old global 5v5 tournament. The list goes on. This type of momentum does not exist without our collective effort. It's the sponsors who stand beside, in front of, and behind us. It's the leagues and owners and federations that believe in us. And equality, as important as the little things that we do every day to make sure that we continue to propel ourselves to places we've never experienced. When I was elected chair of the board of Tennis Canada a number of years ago, Canadian tennis was on the rise. Bianca had won Indian Wells, the National Bank Open, and the US Open. Leylah Annie Fernandez was on the rise. Denis Shapovalov and Felix and Milos were all playing great tennis. And then COVID hit. I found myself leading one of the most successful national sporting organizations in the country and one of the most highly respected tennis federations in the world, and I had no idea what I was doing. I'm a trained lawyer. My expertise in governance and my experience sitting on boards and my lifelong love and passion for tennis were not enough. The new role called for government relations expertise, medical analysis, international relations. We had to restructure the organization, cut costs and budgets. And then the most difficult decision of all we had to make was to cancel the National Bank Open. It was a very difficult time for us as an organization and me personally. The questions, the criticisms, the media, it was a daily occurrence. There were many times I hung up from board calls and felt as though I wasn't the right person to lead the organization through the biggest challenge our sport had ever faced. What kept me going? 3 people. Dr. Penny Ballum, one of our board members from Vancouver, and Peter Kreit, the current chair of the board of Tennis Canada. They would reach out to me after every single board meeting to simply say, "You're doing a great job." The third person is here today, Steve Shammy, who's probably also hiding somewhere. Every time I needed advice during that time, and I sent a text saying, "Do you have a minute?" Unless he was playing tennis, at which point he doesn't talk to anybody. He would always pick up the phone. He would talk me through the COVID issue of the day, the HR issue of the day, the safe sport issue of the day, all of the things that bubbled to the surface considerably during COVID. These are the things that I needed to give me the confidence to take a deep breath and keep going. We must continue to champion gender equity at every level. We must proactively look for opportunities to create pathways, offer support, and build confidence. Whether it's finding creative ways to prioritize keeping young girls in sport, inviting a woman from the next generation of leaders to sit at your table, commending someone's success on a social media post, reaching deeper into your pockets as a sponsor to find a way to get the job done, or by simply telling someone, "You're doing a great job." We must create a culture where women and girls have the confidence to say yes. As Venus Williams articulated earlier, doing something to influence one person at a time can make a massive difference. Gender equity in sport is not luck. There must be a plan. Thank you.